Hey everybody, this is Jim Grzanzio from the Oracle Groundbreakers team, and we're back tonight for some more interviews for the Oracle Groundbreakers India Yatra, which is taking place this week and next week, and of course it took place as well last week. So it's a 3-week tour, well, 3-week journey basically, online conference. I'm here tonight with Mohamed Taman. Mohamed, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure joining you, Jim. First off, really thank you for having me in this interview. It's first time, even we met a couple of times in different conferences, but it's my pleasure to join you in this interview.
Cool. Yeah, I'm glad you're here. I specifically reached out to as many new people as I could find, and I saw your name and I said, oh, cool, because like you said, we've sort of past each other, and so now we get to hang out for a few minutes here. So before we get into talking about your sessions, you got a couple of sessions at this conference, and some other things, some community things and technology. Let's start off with just a little bit of background on yourself, basically who you are, what you do.
Simply stating, my name is Mohamed, as you have pronounced it correctly, and thank you for this. I'm originally from Egypt, and I have been working for Egypt entire my life, and then decided to move to Serbia, in Belgrade specifically. I'm working as enterprise architect, Java industry mainly, and I have my own business that I'm working with, and also to be contracted and consulting many companies with my business.
Cool. So I have a couple of questions on that. What I grew up in the United States, and now I live in Japan, and I know how interesting moving countries can be. How did you find moving from Egypt to Serbia?
This is very interesting story for myself, even because before I was living in Egypt normally as anyone attached to his home and everything. But when I started joining the community as a GCP member, then I have been Java champion. Then I get opportunity to deal and work with different people from around the world. So I get to introduce to different cultures, which is a very good opportunity. But then I start to feel that there is no difference between us. We are human, we are people, nice, working together, different culture was very nice. Then even when I decided to move, it wasn't that hard. It was easy because I used to deal with different cultures. So it's just, I'm going to different place to have a nice, vacation, spending some good time with different people. So it wasn't that hard. And actually, Eastern Europe also people is very cool and warm people. So they are welcoming so much. And it's a cheap country also. It's very interesting. So and Serbia definitely has a very good history, the same like Egypt, from conquer and invasion and all of these kinds. So the culture and the way of thinking, it's almost similar.
Really?
So it's very interesting. But I always say you will never know unless you try.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah.
Egypt is one of the countries that I've never been to, but I've always wanted to go, and so I want to see all the archaeological sites and things like that. And it's not a culture I'm familiar with at all, so I'm always interested in going to.
I encourage you to try, because we have a lot of things to do. Besides, we're a very big country, and this is one interesting here. It's a small country in Serbia, which is nice to reach any destination in a few minutes. But it's like people complaining, it's a crowded, it's traffic. Then I say, okay, how many people you are? Like, what is the population here? Like all Serbia, 7 million. Okay, Cairo only 17 million just living in Cairo. Can you imagine? So don't complain about traffic. Don't complain about. But when I have been in India, so I know it's big population. So I came from this background, so I know how it is. So it's really interesting.
And you also said that
I hope to see you in Egypt.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Just when you would like to go, just bing me, definitely.
Yeah, I'll definitely need some help with that for sure. And you also said that you have your own business. So
Yeah,
that's really interesting. It's very impressive. I'm always very impressed with really anybody who has their own business, because I used to have a business many years ago when I was younger, and I always felt that although it's very difficult, you have to handle so many different things. There's a certain feeling of liberation. You have a little bit more control over your circumstances. Maybe that's an illusion, but you just
exactly.
feel it's very empowering.
Exactly. Whenever you own something and you are controlling it, you have the freedom. So but it's also hard because you have a lot of responsibility, especially if you have a family and you have dependents. So you have to think all about this. Then you have employees. Then you have to run all of this to get daily, the daily food on the table for all of these. So you have to take care. Your family is growing, not just the people that direct dependent, which is the most important. Then you have another people just hanging on your neck. You have to take care of them.
Right.
So yes, and I can say also when you move to different country, which is you have to face new laws, new regulations, new culture. So you have to take care of all of this also to be engaged in the community.
Yeah.
So, but it's always learning paths. It's always challenges, and then when you face challenges and solve it, you are keeping yourself pace that you know practically how to deal with. So this
Yeah.
is how you gain experience. It's always by I can't think that failure is called failure. It's always failure in your steps in the way that you build your experience. It's a steps to your steps to your greater goal that I can say, because failure is just small goals that you tried and then it builds your experience toward your goal.
Right. Exactly. I completely agree. In fact, when I was in business, I was in the construction business. So I was a developer. I built houses. So all these years later,
Yeah,
and
we
it's
learn
very,
from you guys. Yeah,
yeah,
this is
exactly.
how
I
we do
mean,
architecture.
exactly. I mean, the language is the same.
Yes.
So, okay, let's talk about this conference a little bit. You've got a couple of
Mhm.
talks here coming up. How did you get
Yeah.
involved with the Oracle Groundbreakers Yatra?
Actually, we have Jennifer Nicholson. So she is responsible about Groundbreaker, and you are as a great team. Actually, she always try to keep us informed with what's going on, like events. Guys, there is Java track here and here and here, and she sent like a couple of months ago. She sent we have Latin America tour, we have Yarta, India, and India for me it was very interesting. I never been in, talking to Indian community, and it's big, very big in community, and I
Yeah.
have a lot of people working with, and on Facebook even groups they are too much in a lot of involvement. Then I just to say why not, and also it's virtual, it's easy to participate, as we love to do conferencing. So I have submitted my papers and I get accepted, so I'm so excited really
Cool.
to give my talks to Yarta. And when I went through the registration, the emails that they sent, it seems for me like they are very big, well organized groups
Yeah.
of conference people. It's very big. I'm running for 14 or 15 days conference. It's a huge amount of efforts to do running all
Yeah.
of this. Even we are on Oracle Code One, it's 5 days, but it's need a lot and tremendous effort to finish these 5 days. We are
Right.
all busy doing a lot of stuff during the conference 5 days.
Well, you should see, hopefully next year or the year after, when we get to hopefully go out again.
Yeah.
You should, go to India for either Sangam or the Yatra tour, and
Mm.
you should see how the team, because it's a team, how they organize the whole thing. It's
Yeah.
incredible. It really is incredible. I have such respect for them as organizers. They work as a team, and they put on a really good show, and they're very respectful of everybody involved, not just the speakers, but the audience and the people who are contributing, to the organization effort. And it's not just one or two; it's like 20. It really
Yes.
is a big team.
It's very well organized.
Yeah,
And I found behind this, I felt it. They
yeah,
have enthusiasm, really. to reach people, to introduce something with a high quality. So through this, I told you, communication links and everything virtually, I felt it.
Yeah.
So it's always about the quality. So thank you for them, really.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for you and the team for being always with us in every event.
Cool. Cool. So yeah, so I'm really glad that you're going to get to speak in a couple of days on this. So you're doing 2 talks. So walk me through a little bit, talking about classes and rest.
Yes.
Let's have some effective rest. Rest sounds good, but you're probably talking about APIs, right?
Exactly. You got it. You got it, Jim. Yeah. It's like catch name, definitely, to so the people can read the best practice. We this is one of the talks that I love to give, and I found always relevant and interesting, because we have always involving these talks and kind of finding challenging issues when we introduce like services for customers, and especially we are doing REST API nowadays, doing like microservices, even if you are using monoliths. And whenever there is a services, it should have REST API for integration, or for giving the services to be integrated for mobile, for IoT, for whatever it is. So the talk is about how we really could effectively develop REST API that evolve for business. It's a changeable and reliable for change. It's not even the structure does not change frequently to destroy the business side from the client side. So the client does not have to change frequently. So we will go through the modeling of the API from the requirement, how we can model it, how we can reach the final URLs, even with the correct names, verbs, status code, and everything, even without touching the code. So it will be, we have the skeleton, we develop the documentations like contract first, then you can integrate with client, you can give this contract for whenever who are going to integrate with you, and you start developing. But at least we have something we agreed upon at the beginning. So to avoid all of these kind of going to code, doing the coding, then I figured out that I missed something, wrong naming. No, don't go for this side. You just have a very well architected API that all of us agreed upon this, and then start coding, which give you flexibility and less time of coding.
So it sounds like doing all the good preparation and planning and design up front.
Yeah, and I'm giving very good example during this also during this talk. So I will talk how the rules that we are going to apply in order to develop, and I will take like an example, like a bookstore, for example. So how we can, with limited functionality, and how we can develop this and reach the final API. So I will have to have a question to ask the audience. They have to see how it's effectively done during the talk. So we are mapping the theoretical to practical things, because it's very important. We are talking about how we are also considering architecture of this REST when it comes to backend and versioning, security, all of these kind of issues. And then finally, we will touch a little bit comparison between GraphQL, because people always, this is a buzzword, when we use REST, or we are going to have to move completely to GraphQL, or we should use REST, because there is confusion here. So I have to resolve this confusion also, when to use what in which situation.
Okay, cool. And the other talk?
The other talk, actually,
classes?
Yes. It's about the optional class that we have in Java. Yeah, optional class that we likely have it in Java since Java 8. And it was really a great feature that is, in terms of API, has been added to the library of Java. And to avoid the null pointer problem, actually. It just, we're trying to find the best always when we introduce any feature in Java. We're trying to catch the new technologies, the new programming language that isn't like Kotlin, Scala, whatever it is. So we're trying to introduce the best for the community. And nowadays, with the release cadence of 6 months, we bring a lot of innovation, a lot of features for the developers, and it went well until now. And we have, like, since introducing this release cadence, we have almost 6 versions of Java which is successfully delivered with a bunch really of features and API features. Optional class, why I'm talking specifically about optional, because it affects the design of your methods, your classes, your APIs. And it's used nowadays in most of the frameworks. Excuse me. And I found developers are really obsessed using it, but sometimes really overuse it or use it in wrong way. So my talk will be like best practices, how to use optional class. I will cover all the methods inside the class, and then when to use each method in which case and how to effectively finally use it. And I'm going also to introduce anti-patterns, because there is wrong consideration about it as a data type. It's not a data type, and how it could affect performance, memory footprint. All of these we are going to touch during with sample codes, everything with code. It's like snippets. I have like recipes, like 26 recipes I'm going to cover. So to explain in which case and how it is from our code base. Even mistakes myself I was failing into. And during mentoring the people, code review, I found a lot of stuff. Then I take like a note. Then yes, it's very huge topic to advise about for my developers. Why not to formulate it into session, to give it as an even workshop or something like training session for all the people that concerned to develop, or it's relevant for junior, senior architects or whatever who would like to get benefit of this.
Wow. So it just from your descriptions, it sounds like both of them are really comprehensive. Would you say the target audience is medium or advanced level? These are not beginner level sorts of concepts, right?
For optional, I'm always trying to tend to give all the levels almost.
Okay.
Because you're using optional, so it will be when you attend. If you're a senior, you'll find like half of the stuff is relevant for you, but the other half, which is advanced, you're not using it correctly. It should be. I get this feedback because I just wrote also a couple of articles for Java magazine about this. So I got a tremendous and a huge feedback about this. So I found it's very interesting because of this. And then if you're a junior or just beginner, you'll find it's very interesting for you from the beginning till the end. So it suits each level, that is going to attend for the session for. The REST API, whenever I give it, like I give it 3 times in a row in Oracle Code 1. Each time I go to the session, it's fully packed. It's fully booked. Okay. There is it's always, because it's very important concept design, and people from different companies, even giant companies. So this is why I'm keeping updating and trying to introduce new features and new issues that I get as a feedback or I found during the development or mentoring or challenges that we have.
Right. Well, it's really good to hear. I'm really glad that the Yatra conference is starting to integrate more Java content. It's a conference that has a lot of D2B content. So it's just good to hear some Java content actually coming in. I know there's a whole day of Java scheduled, so that's really good. So
this is what we got during the email. Hey guys, Yarta for the first time introduced Java track. You can submit something if you'd like. Yeah, definitely we'll jump it in to submit our talks. Yeah.
Cool. So
we love conferences,
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, I want to ask you.
Interaction, meeting people, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, it's also a part of how developers do their work. I mean, you work together. I mean, you mentioned, code reviews earlier. You just don't sit down and write a bunch of code, code and integrate it into the gate. Yeah, right. I mean, there's a certain collaboration. You write and you have code reviews and you iterate. I mean, I used to work in the Open Solaris project at Sun, before the Oracle acquisition, and so I was used to working with kernel developers. Now, I am not a kernel developer, but I was in that team, and just the amount of review that would go on for integrating code for obvious reasons, because it was a very scalable system. You know, you don't want things flopping over if you break something, right? So you've been involved with Java for a long time. You're a member of the JCP. You're actually, Oracle Groundbreaker Ambassador as well, and a Java champion. Those are three. Your JCP member, Java champion, Groundbreaker. Those are three pretty substantive communities, programs, whatever you want to call it. You seem to sort of be sort of embedded in the community a lot, and that must give you a tremendous amount of value, right?
Definitely. The big value is the knowledge and the people. And do you remember first time at the beginning of this interview, I told you, since I start joining this kind of community, it changed my way of thinking, introduced me to new people, different cultures. So I become more open. And also it's a win-win relationship. Yes, you didn't get paid, but you will get paid in different way. In your career path, you will get paid in your work because you are introduced and engaged with something different in the community. In GCP, this is the first start for me. It was GCP. So I was like testing some JSRs, giving feedback. Then I won GCP award for best participant 2013. Then I moved on to another level to be full member, representing my companies that I work in GCP. Then I start to be from the expert group member for 3 or 4 GSRs. Then I start working on focusing. I was focusing on Java EE, then which is Jakarta EE now. Then I focused more recently on GDK because there is a lot of big changes and confusion in the community for developers, and there is a lot of bunch of stuff introduced. And this is how GCP formulated. I dealt with different people, GCP. I have been expert, not just expert group, I have been also the luck and honor to be from executive committee member for GCP. So there is always executive people and different thinking way than we are developers. And for Java champion, we are just pushing Java from different perspective because we love Java. If we don't love it and we don't have enthusiasm about the language to really spread it, we will not do this because it's our time that we give to the language and the community. So yes, I'm so lucky and happy to be among these professional people. I learned a lot. I learned a lot from these people, from participating in open source project. Just see the code, how the people think, because different point of view, different minds, different thoughts. So you get a lot of this.
Yeah.
It was like 9 years of really being moving from level to level to level until I reached the recent date, which is becoming groundbreakers, introduced me more to different things like Oracle products. I know Oracle product because I have been working for Oracle, and my company in Egypt, even we were like Oracle Gold partner, So especially the database, Oracle database, I love it. I love it, to be frankly speaking. One of the strongest database I ever worked with. Even nowadays, people moving to open source, so using MySQL or PostgreSQL. But Oracle, when it comes to financial or something like it, always we have to stick to Oracle database.
Right.
Definitely, I touched Microsoft SQL Server in different cases, but mainly when it comes to financial security, big airline industries that I worked with, they use Oracle database for warehousing and storage, whatever, because the features that it has introduced. Yes.
So it seems like you've got your hands in a lot of technologies, a lot of communities. You're out and about conferences and things like that. And then 2020 happened, and 2020 happened, right? So I guess we don't have to say anything more about that. But so how are you getting on with, because developers are out there on the you're out there evangelizing, you're traveling, you're having meetings, you're like the JCP meetings are sprinkled around the world and things like that. So how are you getting on now?
it was hard to imagine that I will not go to office again because I am a community guy. I am social. I love people interaction, especially when it comes to meeting. I love face-to-face meeting. But as I learned before, everything is circumstances and you have to try it. So I start to adapt and try to see. And I'm working from home since March, last March, mid of March, when I get an email from our CEO that we should stay at home. And even I get recently another email that we will continue working from home until further notice. But I never tried working from home unless in one situation, when my wife left the kids for me and went back to Egypt to do some stuff and get back. So I have to. Then it was like small introduction, how you can manage your family and home. Then I found it very useful, to be frankly speaking. There is always pros and cons and everything. It's hard but we are, as a developer specifically, nowadays, it shows that we can work from anywhere. It doesn't matter. We should just being socially intelligent, you know. And most of the companies like Google and Oracle, and they realize that, okay, we don't have to have the people inside the office to work, and they can do, unless they do their job normally, and it could be happen behind the walls. It doesn't matter, physically attendance. So yes, it's the pros is you stay with your family, you have greater bond with them, you spend more time, you have your time, you don't have to commute, you don't have to waste time, you have your relaxation. But you will lose on the other side, traveling, meeting people face to face. But as I told you, but at least we have virtual conferences, so we can at least interact differently with people.
Right.
It's a situation. We have been through situations. It just made me remember the days when we had revolution in Egypt and we have to stay for curfew inside the house, working from home, there is no groceries, there is nothing. So we just, getting the same circle again, but in different situation. Now it's pandemic. Before it was the revolution. Okay, I know this kind of stuff. We have this experience before.
Yeah, well, not everyone has had that experience, but it is certainly. But there are a lot of people who have, obviously, and so there's certainly a lot of people experiencing it now for the first time. But it is interesting to hear your perspective if you were in Egypt recently, a few years ago. So, yeah, absolutely. So I'm really glad you shared that. It makes me feel better.
We changing homes. Then you don't care about the place, but we are lucky as a tech people that we still working.
Right.
We can work. We can do our job because unfortunately, a lot of people lost their jobs, and it happens to our business. We lost almost the customer that is working in mobility, like airlines industry, travel, train industry. All of these just shut down. We cannot secure any budget anymore for that project, so we have to suspend it, unfortunately.
Right.
But we are working with cloud companies now for integration, and this kind of stuff is still working because it's data. It does not affect it much. So it's always there is one loser, but by way or another, these also companies should figure a way how we can stand against this, because it couldn't be loose forever. It's just the way that they didn't predict it and well managed during this, for long crisis.
Yeah. Wow. It's I completely agree with everything you said, and I'm really happy to have had that discussion here at the end here, because it gives me a little bit of hope. It's a better way of looking at it, I think, than some people have been, including myself. So
life goes on, and because there is no benefit from getting depressed. Yes, I know it's a sad, and you get bored, and it's physical contact. We have our freedom is limited. So whenever you find that your freedom is touched, you feel annoyed.
Right.
This is human nature. This is normal, but we have to also overcome all of this. We faced a lot during our lives, our generation. So I'm just taking opportunity to be see there is another good things that you can do.
Right.
There is another stuff that you can have. So at least I'm living every day by day by day. I have secured my food for my family. I have my job. Thanks God for this. This is at least.
Right.
And we continue learning.
Cool. Well, that's a great way to end it. Really good conversation, Mohamed. I really, really glad we had a chance to talk here, and I'm holding out hope that maybe next year or the year after we'll meet up somewhere around the world and live.
Yes, it would be face to face to hug and kiss as usual. This is how we use in Arab culture. It's hugging and kissing. This is something normal we used to.
Yeah,
it shows that the warmth and welcomeness. Yes,
right.
I hope so.
It has to be that way. I mean, we just our immune systems can handle that. So
yeah.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good conference. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Have a good day and see you soon.
Great. Bye-bye now.
Bye. Bye-bye.